Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Unwatched Pile, the show where we dust off that bit, well, little or big. Sometimes it could be, a little bit crazy. I know mine is. It gets a little crazy. You have to dust it off. You got to pick something out of there, guys. Don't let it all build up. Buy these movies, watch them. That's what we're here to do. We're here to make that percentage a little better. Of course, as always, I'm here with my good friend, Andrew Cabral. What's up?
What's up? Doing good. I almost screwed up this week by not watching my Unwatched Pile pick until the day of, which I always hate to do because the anxiety does get to you. And as somebody who just like thinks about everything all of the time, when you miss something, like when you forget something, you get so upset at yourself for doing it.
It's one of them things. I think it is less of you forgetting and more of you mixing up. Because we have another show tomorrow night, and there's a little bit of which one comes first? And,
right. Not only that, but when you look on your calendar on your phone, if you have an iPhone, you'll see the little blue dot, right? And unless you click on it and it tells you what it is, you just like kind of assume, hey, you've got something that day. So I was preparing for a completely different show, and then at the last moment, I'm like, wait a minute, there's another show I should be preparing for. Completely slipped my mind. But
you got it.
I was able to recover in time to make things happen, making the magic happen.
That's good.
But we do have a guest.
Of course. Yes, we do. Before we get to him, if you have never watched this show or listened to this show, this is the show where we dust off, like I said, one of our unwatched movies in our collections. We watch it. We come on here to give our first takes, and then we go back into our collections and find a movie to pair with that. I think it helps us connect with that first movie a little more, when you find something that you've already seen that you like to pair with it. So we're going to get into that, and we're going to get in that with our guest this week. He is from the Stubstance Podcast, and that is Mr. Phillip Marinello. Am I saying that right?
Marinello. It's like all right. That's not the worst pronunciation I've ever heard.
What's the worst one?
I mean, shoot, I don't even know. Like, it's not
Marinello.
People do like to do that sometimes.
Do
I haven't
they do
had
that?
in a minute, but
yeah,
people add letters, people take away letters, and it's like it's not that crazy of a name.
It was bound to happen with me. I'm literally the worst person to be trying to pronounce anything, but it's okay.
All good.
It's okay. I just want to talk movies with you. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. It's been a crazy couple of weeks. I got mine in. I was trying to get some of the others in. I didn't. I'd already seen Public Enemies, and I loved what I saw of Cleo, and I can't wait to finish it.
Yes. We will get to that in a little bit. But and I liked that your pick, the 10-star for tonight. You said, oh, you know what? I'm just going to continue the man theme, as in Michael Mann for Public Enemies. He's picking the 10-star, which is directed by Anthony Mann. I'd already picked Cleo from 5. I was like, I'm not going to change it just to do another man, but I almost did. I was like, you know what? Should I do that? And I was like, nah, I need to watch some Agnes Varda.
No, that's a great pick. I've been putting all like Agnes Varda, and we'll save it for the show. That's one that I've been then. Like, her filmography is one that I've been wanting to get into forever, and I've been waiting.
For sure. I got that criterion set for a reason. So I need to dig into it. But before we get into the show, we got some regulars in here. Josephine, of course, saying hello to all three of us. She's got some new watches.
Josephine.
We have Beijing Watermelon from 89. The Shepherd of the Hills from 41. Pastor Hall, I believe I had the indicator of that. That was really good. To Sleep with Anger, Bright Future, and The One Good Turn. Any of these are good and familiar to you guys?
Yeah, To Sleep with Anger. What's Bright Future? That rings a bell. What is Bright Future?
Not sure. Andrew, have you heard of that one?
Well, yeah, for that movie, no, I have not. It sounds familiar, though. But To Sleep with Anger is actually a movie that Criterion's put out a couple of years ago, starring Danny Glover. And it's directed by Charles Burnett. I think it's been getting a lot of recent notoriety. Not notoriety, but like people starting to learn who he is.
Yeah. A lot of people are discovering him, yeah.
Yeah, did we
Oh,
discuss
it's
him?
Kiyoshi Kurosawa. I've been looking at some of his stuff.
Okay,
Bright Future is another Kurosawa movie.
that's why it sounds so familiar.
Great. Well, as always, Josephine has a lot of stuff she's watching. Recently finished reading The Hidden Star by the South African novelist K. Salo Dukir. Dukir? Dukir?
There's that famous pronunciation.
I know, right? It's here. It's here, guys.
Mm.
And Acres of Movies. Happy to see Josephine, new watches. Which of these have we seen? We've already done that. And then enjoyed Sleep with Anger, and we'll find out more on the others. So, all right. Before we get into the show, Phillip, let everybody know who has not met you yet, what you do with your time.
So yeah, like you said, I podcast over at the Substance. Been doing it for a long time, and like I shot myself in the foot or opened up myself. Like we did not niche down. Our brand truly is things of substance. We do a lot of movies. We do a lot of substantive cinemas, but being things of substance, we have educators, we have authors, we have artists, we have activists, we have faith leaders, we have people doing various things around the world in their communities of substance. So, I mean, we've had New York Times bestselling artists, we've had filmmakers, we've had film critics, we've had actually, no, I was on their show recently. You guys just had the Blind Buys boys on semi-recently.
Yes.
Those are good friends of mine. We try to do a lot. Right now, I am recording a lot of short segments for a Panic Fest that happened here in Kansas City. It's a big horror fest. Some phenomenal movies from a lot of up-and-coming creators. So we're putting together our coverage for that. And then, I've got several authors and several filmmakers coming on to talk movies or film critics, and just trying to find the time.
Dude, yeah. I mean, as I can vaguely see just from your Instagram, you have a couple kids, the wife, normal life, and then
this is making some money, and I'm working on the vision of trying to do more things, and I am also in the movie world, like doing some producing stuff on the side as well. So
awesome, man.
We got a lot of plates spinning and a bit of an unwatched pile here as well. So trying to chip away at that. So this was perfect. It's nice when you get to meet new people, make cool things, and make progress on your watch pile.
Fantastic. Anytime you want to chip away at it, man, you come back on here. You can use it as an excuse. Fantastic. Any specific episodes you would like to plug and say, hey, you should check this one out to get a good primer?
Yeah, totally. With this crowd, if you're a movie podcast listener, I'd say some of my favorite movie podcasts we've had hosts on. If you're a film spotting listener, we've had Josh Larson. And I pitch our show. I was going to say my elevator pitch for the shows we're somewhere between film spotting and fresh air. Like, we talk to a lot of interesting people, but we also do a lot of movies. So movie people love our show, but then some of our other people, like, we try to expose them to a lot of movie content. But yeah, Josh Larson, if you listen to the Projection Booth, we've had Mike White on a few times. I've been on the Projection Booth several times. John Carroll Lynch, one of our great character actors.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, dude, that's awesome. Yes.
He directed an incredible movie in 2017 that not enough people have watched. We had him on to talk about his directorial debut. And if you're just into like, this is Chasing Labels. We just recently had Justin LaLiberty on.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. So yeah,
he came on for our April Fool's episode. So the Substance is our brand, but every April we do a silly one, and we usually end up finding substance in there, which we did as well. We did Team America for our April 1st episode.
I gotta listen to that one. I'm a big fan of that movie. So, but that's fantastic, man. I appreciate you coming on. Please, we'll put the links in the description. Please go check out his podcast. Let's do this, guys. We always start with our guest. And so, Phillip, introduce your movie. Tell us what your first thoughts were.
Okay. Since we are video, I will bring here. So I got The Tin Star from Anthony Mann from 1957. 2 years ago, I think it was. Several of the Arrow sales I bought. Can't remember if it was the second or third. They all have like the crazy names or whatever. The spaghetti Western set that had like 4 or 5 of them. I bought that, and then I bought through then I just bought like darn near all the Westerns on, like I bought a ton of spaghetti Westerns. And then in the next Arrow set, I bought nearly all of the other Westerns. So I've got a very large Arrow Blu-ray Western stack. So this is one, it came out in the last couple years and heard a lot of great things about it. Like Anthony Mann, Henry Fonda's great. It's got some great art here. And I just never watched it. And when you guys invited me, I was like, I had an idea. I was going to try to force a theme because I'm going on a few of my own journeys. But then I'm like, what do I really want to see? And I love Letterboxd. I sorted my unwatched movies by shortest. And I was looking at the 80 and 90-minute movies. And this is 93 minutes.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Sometimes you're just like, I can't do a 2.5 hour one today. I can't.
Yep.
So
I love sort by shortest.
Yes.
So yeah, this tells a story. I'll read it briefly. It's about a bounty hunter who comes into town, and there's a new like temporary sheriff. Anthony Perkins plays a guy who is the sheriff, but his position as sheriff, while it is his, is kind of tenuous. There's a really brash, wealthy guy who clearly wants the job, who is also not qualified and doesn't want to use it well. The townspeople hate Henry Fonda because he comes in town trying to collect a bounty. It's got a lot of things going on. And in 90 minutes, it establishes a lot of wonderful detail. Like movies back then, a lot of them were short and they really built worlds quickly. Like if I ever write screenplays, like there's several of like these types of movies that I would study because like this is a very full world that like you understand in like the first 20 minutes.
For sure. No, I think the efficiency of filmmaking back then is something that should really be paid attention to more now, especially since we're so caught up in showing so much of what our imagination's great, and you want to try to create that with CGI. That seems to be the thing nowadays. But I'm telling you, like if people could just sit down and try to make more efficient and great scripts. Now, obviously, we don't want everything to be said. We don't want a bunch of exposition dumps. But like if you can focus more on character, I think the worlds can be built out through our characters and not so much needing to just keep making the movies 2+ hours to do.
Faces, blocking, framing, music does a lot.
It does.
And sets, those are helpful too.
Yeah. But and also I think, being that the Western was so profound in this time period in the 50s, I think for a lot of people, you just, the West, so
yes.
the world in a way is already set up for you. You just building it out with great characters. So
yeah, and it's wonderful. It does what so many like, and I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this as being movie people, collectors. I see a lot positively that I'm pleased with in the collector space, but in like the people who kind of like movies but aren't like, and not to be haughty or put ourselves up, but like people who like to watch movies kind of think, oh, like Westerns, it's old fashioned. There's a lot of isms and like bad stuff that we've moved past. And I'm in like, sure. Yeah, in ways. But a lot of the best Westerns like address those. Like there's so many Westerns that have all the exciting stuff. Like I love genre. Like you guys love genre. Like whether it's, I think Western is just like horror, crime, or whatever. Like you have your tropes, you have your archetypes, you have your, like this is the more or less, like this is a riff on guy comes into town and cleans things up kind of way. But with some like subtle differences, like character-based, really wonderful things. And it's so much richer than many like very fun stories where like some guy with a gun comes into a town and cleans it up and rides away. Like this is that like general story, but again, in 93 minutes with the story choices and the character choices, I think it goes a lot deeper.
For sure. Andrew, I know this is one that you are into. Give some thoughts.
Yeah, it's an interesting Western. Like you said, it came out in 1957.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because it's kind of almost in the middle of like the old American Western, and then what would be, the spaghetti Western of the 60s. And then, of course, that would change Westerns into kind of this homogenized, Americanized spaghetti Western, which you would get in like The Wild Bunch and stuff like that. And it's so interesting because this movie, ironically starring Henry Fonda, who would be, in my opinion, one of the best spaghetti Westerns ever in Once Upon a Time in the West. And in this movie, he's playing the hero as opposed to in that movie where he's playing the villain. And it's interesting just from a thematic perspective. This movie's very richly themed. It's richly themed in the sense like you've got the reluctant hero in Henry Fonda, who's not really coming into town to be a hero. He's not Wyatt Earp, he's not someone like that. He is someone who is just like trying to collect his bounty and then be on his way, but he becomes this kind of public pariah because he's an outsider, and he's kind of has to
like immediately. Like immediately he walks into town, and it's the shot of him coming into town, which I think is the opening shot. It's him silently coming in, trailing another horse with a blanket over it and like an arm hanging out, and it's clearly like he's bringing a dead man into town. And then this little informal mob of like
they just show up,
like they're just like, oh, like he's not being nefarious. Like he trots his horse right up into the sheriff's office, but like right away you can just tell that these people hate this man.
What's interesting is that the person that he that he's bringing in to collect the bounty of is a criminal, someone you see on a wanted poster. It's not like he killed an innocent person and now they want to run him out of town because he's the bad guy. No, they just don't like him immediately.
I know part of it is that the person that he brings in is somebody that lives in the town. I know that's part of
with the town. Yeah,
that's the thing. There. Like they seem to have this kind of this culture, like this may be a bad guy, but this is our bad guy.
But yeah, I was gonna say they protect
like that.
Like
he's one of our. He's one of us.
To a degree, and also really interestingly, and it's so wonderful how they established this right away, because again, it's so short. A big theme of the movie is like, how is the law executed and applied? Mm-hmm. Like, and these people right away are like looking down upon Henry Fonda because he is not doing things, like he's not a lawman. He's a bounty hunter. He is not doing things by the book. Yet throughout much of the movie, the town's very much behind people who are not doing things.
And then quickly somewhere, you see Anthony Perkins try to lawfully go out and do something to stop chaos, and then nobody wants to back him up.
Zero.
His character is fascinating as well because, like you said, he's a lawman, but he kind of stumbled into the job because the previous sheriff was killed. So he's almost like he's a sheriff by default, and he's young, he's inexperienced, he doesn't really even know how to handle a gun well.
The first time we see him, he's like practicing his gunmanship. And Henry Fonda, he drops his gun. Like the first time we see him, he tries to do a spin and drops his gun. That's our introduction to him.
Yeah, so you can tell already that this town is a lawless town. It's a lawless area, and that kind of symbolizes the West, or the idea of the West, of being lawless and being kind of, the wild, wild West. And it's interesting how the Henry Fonda and the Anthony Perkins character relationship blossoms in the movie. It's kind of a mentor-mentee relationship, but there's antagonistic elements there.
I don't know about begrudging. There's tension because Henry Fonda's like, this guy's like,
he's gonna get himself killed.
He's like, but Anthony Perkins is so idealistic and good, and like he's pure-hearted with so much like naivete. And Henry Fonda's like, this guy's gonna get killed.
He has an idealism that is not suited for the job or the area that he's living in. And I think at some point during the film, Henry Fonda basically tells him, just leave town. Take, because he's got like a young woman that he is in a romantic relationship with. And
wants him to not to give up the tin star,
and he won't give it up, even though she tells him to give it up because she knows that it's a dangerous job. it's a fascinating, like great deeper Western. It's different than some of the earlier Westerns, like the cavalry Westerns and stuff like that from like John Ford back in the 40s and whatnot. The John Wayne Westerns, which can have depth to them, but most of them are rather surface level entertainment. For me, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, I still think is probably John Ford's deepest movie, at least his Westerns. It's so good. That movie's got a lot going on.
A lot
with
of
this.
substance.
Hopefully, I
We
didn't take your
had
pick.
YouTube's Elliot Cohen on sometime in the last couple of years when the 4K came out. We had Elliot on for that, and that was a great discussion.
Yeah, that movie is probably one of my favorite Westerns, probably my favorite Western. Because it's such an anti-Western, ironically so. It takes the ideas of like what a Western should be and then turns it on its head. And
Liberty Valance was amazing. Well, because that's John Ford and John Wayne after they had built the myth. They're like, I don't know what John Wayne's intentions were, but I think John Ford maybe was a little cognizant of his role in constructing the myth and wanted to maybe not have only that be his legacy.
Very much so. Yeah, so the Tin Star for me was a discovery for me a couple of years ago when the Blu-ray came out from Arrow.
Such a great cover. I thought this was Sean Phillips, but I don't think it is. Who is this? Sam Hadley. I don't know who that is, but this is a wonderful poster.
Yeah, and then on the inside, I think this is the original poster on the inside.
Yes, that's what I do too when they have those. I always put the original ones.
I flipped mine around. Yeah, so for those of you who have not seen this, also this is Anthony Perkins pre-Psycho. I think everybody just remembers him from Psycho, and this is pre-Psycho Anthony Perkins.
He's a little baby boy. Well, and it's this is just incredible writing. This is just really, really wonderful writing.
And this is Anthony Mann. You know, he did a lot of westerns with as you brought up Jimmy Stewart. You need a lot of westerns with him, and this is him kind of stepping out and doing some other leads here, and I think probably one of his better ones of them crops.
Winchester 73 is one of those ones that's like really so perfect and pure that just got a new 4K. I haven't purchased that yet, but that's one I remember getting the VHS with my dad from the library back in the day. But yeah, I was just so impressed. This is like, it does all the Western things. If all you want to do, turn your brain off, watch posses and criminals and some gunfights and have a 90-minute at the end, like you can have that, but there's so much more here. And the way the titular Tin Star keeps coming up, when Henry Fonda reveals to Anthony Perkins when Anthony Perkins is getting fed up, and I don't think he's like angry with Henry Fonda, but all of the pressure is getting to him. Henry Fonda gives him some piece of advice, and Anthony Perkins is like, what would you know about it? You're not a lawman. And he's like, I wore that star longer than you'll ever wear it. He's like, you're going to be dead like next week. I had that star. I wore it. And you don't understand the weight of it. And like, that's kind of when the movie turns with their relationship. And it was so masterfully done.
Yep. A lot of great moments in the film. I think earlier in the chat, some Acres of Movies asked what was our favorite moment of the movie. I really like that scene where near the beginning where he's first challenging that guy in the town after he just like killed somebody, and he's using the hat to kind of cover his gun as he's trying to pull it out, and he's about to pull it on Anthony Perkins, and then Henry Fonda shoots it out of his hand. I love that. So that scene was staged so well. I love that moment. Any favorite moments?
I mean, the big moment, not the big moment at the end, but the moment at the end where Henry Fonda comes out loud and proud, because Henry Fonda doesn't want to be the sheriff of this town. But if he can, at a certain point, he wants to make sure that Anthony Perkins is the type of sheriff that can, because it's clear to him that Anthony Perkins is not going to let this go. So he's trying to, without getting too involved, but he can't help it, he's trying to make sure that Anthony Perkins is up to the task as much as possible. But when he comes out with just a little bit of that support that he'd been withholding at the very end, to let Anthony Perkins then go stand up for himself and establish himself as the sheriff. And again, that was a silent moment, but it was incredible. I was like, I don't know if this is a 5-star. And I was like, why am I not going to give this a 5-star? This is incredible.
Yeah, it's one of them ones where I've seen it once and I really liked it the first time. So I know if I go back and watch it again, that it will probably grow. It will probably be closer to, like, I think I would give it a 4.5. So maybe another watch, I'd probably fall easily into thinking it was a perfect movie for me.
Well, Lee Van Cleef's jump scare hour into the movie.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah.
I love how Lee Van Cleef, kind of like the early part of his career, he was just like a bit character. Like
He just comes up everywhere.
He would just show up randomly in just small roles. And like he was I believe he was in High Noon as well in a small role.
Yeah.
Kind of just fascinating. Then later on, of course, he'd be much bigger. For me, I don't want to give this away because it's kind of a spoiler, but there's a character in the movie that gets killed, and his stagecoach, like his coach, rides into town, and people are celebrating because they're he's celebrating like a big birthday or something. And we know as an audience member what happened to this character, but they don't. So as a viewer, you're just being like, "Oh, these people are going to be devastated when they find out what has happened." And it's just like that tension of knowing something as a viewer and the people in the movie not knowing it's an old like Hitchcockian thing, really. But that's a scene that I always remember as well.
Awesome. Anything else you got to say before we move on?
Well, we haven't mentioned it yet. There are a number of really wonderful moments and scenes. There's a young boy that Henry Fonda befriends. Just some of those. I was genuinely terrified for the boy when he followed the dog, and you're like, oh, he's following the dog back to the outlaws. When the posse's out looking for the outlaws, the posse can't find them, and the kid sees the dog, and the dog starts walking away clearly back to its owners, and the kid starts following the dog. I was like, they're not going to do that in the 50s, right? They're not going to kill this kid, right? And I thought the kid was fantastic.
Yeah, it really is. And even I'm blanking on her name. The boy's mom gets to play I think a solid. A lot of times women get relegated to like almost nothing in some of these Westerns, and she plays a nice role in here where she's a mom who comes from her son's half native, so he's they're probably probably shunned upon in the community. Nobody likes, especially the boy. The boy gets somewhere and they always kick him out of everywhere.
A lot of socially like societally conscious stuff in the 50s too. Like that was not the ways that Westerns in the 40s and 50s treated Native Americans. Historically not great.
No,
this
really.
was very nuanced and really well done.
But all right, we will come back around to Philip to see what he's going to pair it with. I have a couple ideas in my mind, but I don't know Philip's like movie, like what his vibes are yet. So I
would be impressed. I'll say I'll be impressed if you pick my double feature. It's not crazy start. I can maybe give you a hint when it comes to that time, but I will be impressed if you pick it.
Okay. I like, sometimes I'll write them down just to see if I get them right. But we'll come back around to Philip later. We're going to move on to Andrew, who is going to tell us about another man. Also, his last name's Man, who directed a movie. Go ahead, tell us which one it is.
Ironically, also spelled the exact same way with 2 N's.
Yes.
They're not related at all, by the way. So this is a movie that I've been wanting to watch for a very, very long time. By long time, I'm talking since the time I bought the movie on Blu-ray up until now. And this Blu-ray came out back in, I want to say 2010 it came out.
2010 or 11 probably.
Yeah, because what's interesting, it's been re-released so many times that I'm like, 2009 was the original release. Okay. So this movie came out in theaters in July of 2009 and then came out on Blu-ray in December of 2009. And I probably bought it not too long after that. So let's say 2010 just for the sake of
a Best Buy Blu-ray pickup, I bet you.
This was a Best Buy Blu-ray pickup. I was at Best Buy all the time back then.
Oh, I remember.
This was an early Blu-ray pickup for me because I had just started making the transition from DVDs to Blu-rays in that late 2009, 2010 corridor. I think one of the earliest Blu-rays I ever bought was Watchmen. I think I bought Watchmen, which came out around that same time as well. But Public Enemies, the Michael Mann gangster film starring Johnny Depp, as well as a bunch of other actors in here that were very familiar of the time and familiar now. Marion Cotillard, Christian Bale's in this film as well. A bunch of other character actors are in here. Jason Clarke, who I don't think anybody really knew who he was at that point, 2009.
No, I don't think so.
It wouldn't be until after this where he would start being in more prominent roles. But this is the movie that I would say details, but it shows the last year or two in the life of the famous gangster John Dillinger, a famous gangster who predominantly worked in the Midwest, but he kind of worked in various places. But predominantly this movie is set in the Midwest, in the whole Minnesota, Wisconsin, Dakotas area, Illinois, all these areas, Chicago. And takes place between 1933 and 1934. This is historical fact. John Dillinger doesn't make it. Historical fact here. And this movie is interesting, like I said, because Michael Mann has done organized crime films in the past, Heat being the most prominent one. Collateral, I don't know if that's such an organized crime thing. That's more dealing with a hitman, but you understand the kind of darker themes and all that kind of stuff. I'm trying to think of,
most
Thief
of his
is
movies
about
deal with crime. Thief,
yeah, this
Manhunter,
Thief,
Miami Vice.
So he's been in that realm. Oh, even in the movie
Black Hat,
which is about a computer hacker.
If you want to call it that, yeah.
Sidebar. I don't know. Do you guys remember? Were you guys big on film Twitter back when Twitter was tolerable?
Not really.
Oh, I still am on Twitter, so yes.
Do you remember the Miami Vice hullabaloo a couple years ago?
Which hullabaloo are you referring to?
Just like, never mind. I recently had Brandon Strusnag on our show.
Was it the one? I think I know what you're talking about.
He got all cut up. An ex-girlfriend of his, hadn't seen it. And it became a story that things ran with, and then it eventually culminated in a big screening in New York.
I remember the big screening.
Went to. He talked to. There was some weirdness that he hadn't talked about publicly. So if you want to go check out our 28 Years Later episode, he shines a little bit of light on the Miami Vice film Twitter saga. He just reminded me of that.
It's ironic that you say that because they just announced that they're doing a Miami Vice, another movie.
They are. I rolled my eyes, but then I saw the cast and I'm like, okay.
Yes,
pretty.
Michael
That's a
B.
pretty
Jordan
solid
and
choice.
Austin Butler, I believe.
Ooh, favorite Michael Mann quote in the chat. That's a good one.
What is interesting also that Michael Mann I think he was a producer on the TV show back in the 80s. That was his show.
Oh yeah, very much so. He directed
the
pilot and wrote several episodes, and that's a banger show.
Yeah, talk about, a police procedural show. He's made movies about crime and police work and stuff like that. And this movie very much is that as well. But it happens to take place in the 30s, centered around the hunt, the investigation, the dealings with John Dillinger, who was he and his gang were notorious bank robbers from back during that time, back in the 20s and 30s. He was amongst a lot of other famous gangsters of that time. But this is an interesting, almost time capsule of a movie, because you got to go back to 2009 and remember how big of a star Johnny Depp was. How in the 2000s he was a massive star. So to have Johnny Depp in this movie, Christian Bale, who at this point is coming off of The Dark Knight and Batman Begins, massive stars. This would be the same. This would be right before Inception would come out. Marion Cotillard, I think by this point, already won an Oscar for La Vie en Rose. I mean, this is an interesting just collaboration of humongous stars plus Michael Mann. And it's interesting that I've always felt that this movie has kind of a middling reputation. That no one really talks about the movie.
It's kind of like The Godfather 3, in my opinion. It stinks because I think good movie, but when you put it up to Manhunter and Heat and Thief, you're like, those are some of the best movies ever made. and this isn't the best movie ever made, but it's very good. It just
Yes.
happens to be made by the guy that's made literally some of the best crime movies ever made.
I would say it probably fell victim to lofty expectations that were probably unrealistic and couldn't be met, which we see all the time in movies now. And then when it kind of just was a little bit lesser than that, it's still on a good level to me. The acting is good. The plot pacing for a movie that's 2 hours and 20 minutes is still pretty good. There are some slow moments in the movie. Like the movie's got some pacing issues in the regard that like there's great action shootout scenes, there's chase scenes, there's really the plot's moving forward. Then there are other scenes where like the movie comes to like a dead stop, and I'm like, and then it picks back up again.
It was nice to see at the time Depp step outside of these kind of wacky roles and do.
Yeah, it's not Jack Sparrow. Like he's
Yeah,
actually like really, really acting, and it's not quite the usual Johnny Depp acting because we've seen him do like
Donnie
in
Brasco and
Fear and Loathing in
Yeah.
Las Vegas. Donnie Brasco, like you said.
yeah, I mean he's done some straighter roles obviously back in the day. Gilbert Grape, things like that are more like real people and not like these characters.
Not these quirky Tim Burton characters, if
Cool
you
about
will.
this
It's
is
not
like-
Sweeney Todd,
You have the big operatic, like him putting on the performance as the bank robber, but then the whole movie is him in the human moments in between those things.
Very much so, and that's what is most fascinating about this movie is it's very humanizing the villain, if you will, the antagonist, if you will. John Dillinger's not a good guy. He's killing people. He's robbing banks, running from the law. He's not the guy we're supposed to root for. But the movie tries to give us that sense of empathy or sympathy. I don't know if it quite achieves it, but it tries to go for that. And then you have the flip side with the authorities with Christian Bale playing Melvin Purvis. And these are all based on real people, which is fascinating to me. You can look all this history stuff up. Melvin Purvis, who worked for the FBI, hunting down people like John Dillinger. He would actually go on to be part of the military during World War II and all this kind of stuff. Billy Crudup is in the movie as J. Edgar Hoover, it's like, is that Billy Crudup? Indeed it is. It's just so fascinating who's who of movies. Who's who in this movie. But the movie tries to hit on a lot of, like I said, humanistic themes with the John Dillinger character and all this kind of stuff. And the biggest issue I have for the movie is it tries to do a lot in a relatively small amount of time. 2 hours and 20 minutes doesn't seem like a small
Michael
amount of
Mann,
time.
that's about average, yeah.
But we're trying to tell like a story that is all encompassing over like 2 years. It's bouncing back and forth between Christian Bale's character and the authorities and them hunting down John Dillinger, as well as Johnny Depp and what's going on with him and his gang, what's going on with him and his relationship with the Marion Cotillard character. So there's a lot of things being juggled within this movie. And I think Michael Mann does an okay job of balancing all of that, but it's still a tall task to ask any director to do all of that. But for me, I still think it's a good movie. There's a lot of great action sequences. Michael Mann's an exquisite technical filmmaker.
Yeah.
What's also interesting about this is the movie looked odd to me aesthetically. I'm like, why does this look so odd?
Yeah,
I was going to say for me, I have not watched this movie since probably like somewhere within a couple years of the time this movie came out. But I remember thinking the time period and his slick kind of high def style, is a little jarring.
The editing was kind of odd. The camera aesthetic was kind of. Then I'm like, I think I know what he did. He shot this movie on a Sony digital cameras.
This and Collateral both got a lot of initial pushback because of the digital video photography.
It's so surprising to me that he decided to do that with this film because it's a period piece set
exactly.
And he went and shot in like the actual locations in which John Dillinger was in, with like actual places.
So it's what a weird choice.
Yeah. Actual towns and banks and places, and he even used an actual John Dillinger car from 1932, like an actual car to shoot a scene.
Man is a nut.
Why didn't you shoot this in 35 millimeter?
With detail.
So
but then, he shoots it digitally. What? Yeah.
It takes you right out of the movie because it looks digital. It looks like it's done by like people with like handheld cameras moving back and forth as opposed to the usual editing patterns. But you got to keep in mind, it was the late 2000s. Digital filmmaking was relatively new.
He was taking a chance. He was trying
He's
something.
messing around.
Filmmakers were trying it out. Filmmakers were trying to experiment at that time. You had George Lucas doing it with the prequels. You had, Robert Rodriguez doing it. You had Michael Mann trying it out as well. Digital filmmaking was starting to happen, so they wanted to work with the new technology. I guess.
Give them some the haters and some of the naysayers. I will give them some points on this one. I think Collateral looks gorgeous and is an amazing, perfect movie.
That movie's great.
I think some of the choice. I like this a lot, and I love Mann as a stylist, but some of the stuff in here is a little eyebrow raisy. Acres of Movies. I don't know what the actual name is. I'm pretty sure it was Brian Cox in Manhunter. The line that sticks in my head is when he says, "Smell yourself." I just think that was so menacing. As Will is losing his mind, he comes into Hannibal to be like, "You're the crazy criminal, help me." And Hannibal, the way he kind of loses it and says, "Smell yourself." It's like, it's in you actually, guy. And it's just gets under your skin. And Brian Cox, used to be a hot take, one of the best, but there's not a bad Hannibal actually. All three of the Hannibals, very good Hannibals.
Well, unless you want to count Hannibal Rising, the prequel.
Okay, haven't seen it since it came out.
I haven't seen it since
it surprised me when it came out.
Yeah.
I would probably say 3.5 stars when it came out. I was thinking it was going to be trash, and I was like, that was kind of fun. But also, that's its own thing.
I haven't seen it in a minute, so I can't really. But I don't think I remember loving it when it came out.
Love is strong, but I thought it was going to be
I don't even know if I liked it.
Okay, I did like it.
It's another one. Well, Steven, I know you have a predilection against prequels of telling the origin stories of
I'm not one for filling in gaps where gaps don't need to be filled. Yeah.
You bring up Star Wars. It's like everything cool you like. Here's how. Step by step.
That's what your imagination became
cool, and it's like, golly, that's the worst.
Well, that's it. Hollywood doesn't understand that their exploitation of their own stuff is what's killing the industry.
The lived-in nature is what makes it cool. Going talking about it and thinking about it. There's nothing to talk about and think about.
If you're not creating conversation with your own films, then you're not. It's not going to live on past. What streaming's doing. You're turning yourself into streaming by making yourself so passive with your.
You are literally killing those conversations by being like, "How did Boba Fett get here?" Well, let me tell you. It's like, don't tell me. Let me think about what that might be.
Exactly. So it seems like you somewhat you liked it. Solid. It's a solid film for you.
Yeah, I think the filmmaking and the acting and the story itself, I think, is rather fascinating, rather good. I'm also a sucker for a good period gangster film from the 1930s. I love those old Warner Brothers gangster films. It had loads of references to that. Also a lot of movie references, because I guess John Dillinger was a bit of a cinephile. He was always at the movies. Ironically, that's kind of how he ended up meeting his end. He went to see Manhattan Melodrama at the movie theaters with Clark Gable back at that time. I don't know if that's 100% accurate. Obviously, this is a movie. It's not going to be 100% historically accurate, but they kept going back to him being a big movie fan in the movies. I thought that was a nice touch. I'm glad I finally got to see it. Awesome. Yeah.
Fantastic.
And hopefully this gets a re-release sometime soon, because it is a Blu-ray from 2009.
Wait, what is that? Is that a Paramount or Sony?
It's a Universal.
Universal Basic. I would not be shocked if an Arrow put that out.
I was going to say it sounds like a good Arrow release.
Because Black Cat's already out.
Yeah,
so
true.
It's been 17 years since the movie came out. I'm trying to think, because I always like to coordinate things with anniversary releases. So I think they put it out before. And I talked recently on Chasing Labels how I'm hoping we get more Michael Mann getting 4K releases. I'm waiting for Ali to get a 4K release.
Yes.
I would love The Insider to get a 4K release. They've already done Thief. They've already done Heat. Collateral already got a 4K release. Miami Vice has been rumored for the last 3 to 4 years.
Oh, now you got to wait for the new movie to come out.
Because it got that new Blu-ray from Mill Creek or somebody that at Walmart had.
It did get a new Blu-ray release. It got new Blu-rays from 88 Films 4 or 5 years ago. And it was we thought that was going to be a 4K or a remaster or something, and then nothing ever came.
What a good movie! What a wonderful movie that is.
Maybe they're coordinating it for when the new movie comes out.
I actually still need to see Ferrari.
Oh, that's another one. Ferrari. That
forgetting about
only ever got straight to Blu-ray. They didn't
think
even
it's
put a
Blu-ray
4K
only.
out when that came out. It's kind of interesting which ones they choose and don't choose to put onto 4K. And then a year later, they'll announce a Ferrari 4K at some point. Who knows?
Yeah, sure. Well, let's call them all into being here. And yes, the Substance is on YouTube, but audio only. We don't do video.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll move on to my pick this week. I had to do this, as I said at the beginning. I needed to. As I've been alphabetizing my collection. Agnes Varda showed this big behemoth collection thing here. Here's the outer box. Just looks at me, her face just looking at me, saying, "Please watch me." And I'm just like,
not to.
Why you don't watch my movies?
And then I'm like, I see her holding all these film canisters, like that's like me with my Unwatched Pile. I'm like, so I was like, I need to watch one of your movies. So I picked the one that I always hear people talk about, and that is Cleo from 5 to 7. I've heard so many people rave about this film kind of being her like seminal film that and this is like her, I believe, like her second feature.
Yeah,
so
her second movie.
I was like, all right, so here we go. I mean, in a way, it's like me seeing her first film, so it was a good first one, obviously, for me to start with. And this film's about a singer who is waiting on news to hear whether she has cancer or not. You're kind of obviously by the title, you're spending a couple hours with her. It's kind of trying to stay in real time, but the movie's only an hour and a half. So technically it's not in real time, but it makes you feel that, it's very in the moment. And what's really interesting is the beginning of the film is in color, and you get like this opening sequence, which is, it took me by surprise. I was like, I thought this was in black and white. And then it shows does this whole tarot card thingy, and does the credits, and then when it's over, it goes into black and white, and you're just like, whoa, like, and then from there you just get this, you stick with Cleo, is waiting on this news, and you just kind of go through these next couple hours of her life trying to kind of go about her day and trying to avoid her problem, but also seeing her opening her mind up to different things that if she was in another, if she wasn't having to think about this, she might not be doing, like sitting in a cafe, she's talking with some guy, but then she's hearing another conversation behind her. And instead of listening to that person, she's listening to this random stranger, because, when you're in like, when you're in stressful situations, I think, at least for me, I feel like you start to become a little bit more like aware of others. Like,
oh yeah.
Instead of like just yourself. I don't, you know what I mean? Like I start thinking that when you're thinking about your mortality, you're like, you start to like look around a little more instead of like just being stuck in your mind. That's me. Andrew's like, I don't think so. I think it's the opposite. Andrew.
Yeah.
You get inward when you're stressed out?
Oh, I don't know. I never, that's interesting. I guess it depends on what you mean by stress. Are we talking like anxiety inducing?
Anxiety. I mean, she's obviously waiting on some bad news.
Right.
And so the way what I'm trying to say is that when I feel like, if you're feeling like your life's in danger, right? I don't, it's not a private thing necessarily, but you've talked about your situation. You've had cancer. You've dealt with that. And like, so like when there's possibility of something that's looming in the wings and you could get bad news, sometimes you start to get a little bit more like existential. You start thinking about things that are outside of your pure that you don't, because I think most people are stuck in their own worlds most of the time.
Yeah, we're just on autopilot.
You're on autopilot, you're doing your thing, but then when something rocks that, it breaks you out of your normal routine and you start looking around at other people. And like, I think that's what she's doing in this movie a lot, is she's broken out of her normal routine. She's used to people doing everything for her. She's used to that grand lifestyle, but now that something might ruin all that, she's starting to become a little bit more existential, a little bit more aware of others.
Yeah. Aren't there moments of the movie where she's kind of making observations, like internal monologue observations of the world around her? Yes. If I do recall. It's been some years since I've seen the movie. So that is very fascinating. It's almost as if like the world becomes like unlocked, like the veil is lifted off of her eyes, because life becomes potentially very, very real, very, very fast for her. And I think that like Agnes Varda captures that very well. And keep in mind, this movie came out in, I believe, the
62.
late 1950s.
62.
62. Okay, I was thinking because I know Agnes Varda did movies in the late 50s. She kind of predates the French New Wave before the
She
French New
does.
Wave was actually the French New Wave, and I don't think she gets enough credit for actually doing that. But anywho, that's just me. But that's just a fascinating that it's 1962 and it's hitting on something so incredibly humanistically real that we could, think about now as it pertains to our own lives.
Yeah, and I just think that these are types of movies that I get really sucked into. Anything where we're kind of like going along with somebody in their head and like them kind of like dealing with like some sort of personal strife is something that I always get and when I tell you my pairing, I think especially Andrew, who knows my taste, he'll understand it. He'll understand where I'm coming from. But like I these are movies that really like, and I like going back to watch these multiple times because the more I like movies that are dealing with humanity, dealing with humanistic issues and humanistic things that are the most relatable things. Like these movies with like these grand situations and things, they're fun to watch, but they're not always relatable. These are real relatable movies for me. And I just, on top of that, just the photography that, she frames the hell out of this.
Gorgeous.
The framing in this movie is like gorgeous. Like, and the lead actress is just stunning. Just watching her go through this film. Her name is, here we go. God, Cornet,
French woman.
Marchant. Sounds great.
Stunning.
Stunning. Yeah. But she's beautiful and she is amazing in this film. And, just the trajectory of where she is and then how the movie ends, which I'm not going to spoil because I think it's important that people experience that moment with her, is just, I think, really nice. And is in a sense, in a way, hopeful, at the end. So, any thoughts on Cleo? Phillip, you go ahead and start.
Well, yeah, need to finish it, but like I know them. Like if you're a cinephile, like this is one that you've heard people talk about. I've seen video essays. I've seen people talk about it in the Criterion Closet. I love reading the Criterion top 10 lists. Like I've read probably all of those multiple times. Like I know the movie a bit. So it was wonderful to finally see it. And I've been not putting off my Agnes Varda journey, but waiting to do it. So yeah. I was imagining that I was probably going to like it, but right from the beginning, it just grabs you with the setup. I'm a sucker for like a clever or like not cutesy if it's like silly, but I love a like unique and artistic opening credit sequence, and like with what they did with the tarot card, like it grabs you right away.
It made me think for sure like Wes Anderson like loves
a little bit,
like Agnes Varda, just specifically this opening. Yeah.
But then the way it went between black and white and color as the tension was ratcheting up in her and the medium or whatever is like, hey, like we don't know these things for sure. Cleo leaves and then she's like, she's got cancer, it looks terrible. So like the guy in the other room, like her husband or whatever, and then we kind of set off on this journey. And I also love like a humanistic, like whether it's about mortality or if it's just about the daily stuff. I love those sorts of stories, like people realizing the beauty and the value of a normal life. Like I love that sort of story.
Yeah, I love it too, man. Anything else, Andrew, before we move on?
I would say, predominantly, Agnes Varda didn't do a lot of narrative films. She did a lot of documentary work. Yeah, documentary work is incredibly observant of like humans and human nature and human condition. So I felt like when she did do narrative films, depicting people, she really got it. Like really understood, how to depict human problems, human nature within narrative films. For me, it's interesting. Everyone says Cleo from 5 to 7 is maybe her like masterwork. I think Vagabond is extraordinary. Her movie Vagabond she did in the 80s. I think that movie is like incredible. And I don't see a lot of people talk about it enough. It's interesting. Cleo from 5 to 7 was available for like the longest time through Criterion only on DVD. I think the only way you can get it on Blu-ray, I think, is through that box set. Pretty sure that's the only way you can get most of those movies on Blu-ray is through that box set for the most part. Some of them did make it to Blu-ray, and some of them were in an Eclipse set or two, and but that set I think is invaluable to have all of those movies from Agnes Varda.
Does it really have all of her movies?
I think it's got all of them.
It's because she made like 80 some, right?
It's a lot. There's a lot. It's a lot of shorts in there. A lot of
I love
documentary. Yeah, she did a lot of short documentaries. She did one called Uncle Yanko, which was about her eccentric uncle. It's fascinating. It's just fascinating. Just like his life and what he does. He lives like down at like the marina on I think he lives on like a houseboat or something.
Yeah.
And there's this whole houseboat community that's there too, and it's all about them and stuff. It's fascinating. She did a documentary about the Black Panthers in the 70s, which is incredible. Time to be interviewing them.
I need to get that set. I hope it stays
incredible work.
As I'm going through my collection and logging things I haven't watched yet, I'm like, dude, I know why I bought this. I'm like, this is all awesome. And I need to try to watch
buy things when they're on sale.
Yeah.
For when you're going to want.
That was one of those things where I got it like absurdly cheap because Criterion used to let you stack coupons they would send you in your emails. If you were a subscriber to the Criterion channel, they would send you coupons and they used to let you stack them and they didn't have expiration dates on them. They wised up and they now have expiration dates on them.
I had to use mine last year, I think.
Yeah, so people who get those, check the expiration dates on them because they may expire on you. But they still let you stack them. So you can get some sets for pretty cheap. Like I just got the Pasolini 101 box set.
Those are the two. The Varda and Pasolini are the big ones that I do really want to get.
I'm glad I waited. I'm glad I waited to snag it for when I did for absurdly low prices. But yeah, Steven, I'm curious what you're going to pair up with that. Very curious.
Well, I don't think that I'm not sure that you might be able to guess, but I think you'll like it. I think so. But let's get around to Phillip.
I will say before there's an interesting parallel call back to earlier. I don't know if I said the name of it actually. John Carroll Lynch's directorial debut 2017. It's called Lucky. Also,
I have it. I saw that.
Movie.
I saw that in the art house cinema. It was like playing one time in my area, and I went and saw that. Yeah.
Wonderful story about mortality. Also has beautiful musical number in it as well.
Yes. David Lynch shows up.
He does.
Well, because his best friend's in it.
Yeah.
Well, the movie got made.
Harry Dean Stanton.
David Lynch's presence helped
right
make Harry Dean Stanton's last movie.
Yeah, it's great. It's a good one.
And Harry Dean sings in it, just like Cleo.
Hey, it's not my pairing, but it sounds good.
It's interesting. I'm glad you actually mentioned that because that movie does not have a Blu-ray release. That went straight to DVD.
We're trying to get
trying. If you can make that miracle happen, that would be great.
Hell yeah! All right, well, let's get around to Phillip. He's going to tell us what he's paired with 10 Star.
Well, I'm curious, Steve. Okay, I'll give you some hints. This is also a 1957 Western, starring somebody who did also work notably with Anthony Mann.
I was going to guess Roadhouse. So,
okay.
That's what I would have done it with. I'd have been like, look, dude comes into town and cleans up shit. And the town's like, even though they're bad people in it, they seem to not give a shit. And like, it's just Patrick Swayze versus all of them. Like.
I know what you're saying. But I got a feeling I may know what he's going to pick.
Okay. All right.
Andrew, you want to guess?
Is it Shane?
It is not Shane. No, it is Samuel Fuller's The 40 Guns.
Oh, nice.
Also a 1957 Western. There's also a wonderful, strong woman that plays a very important role. And it has the things of like law people doing law people stuff, but I won't spoil it. But the climax of 40 Guns, when the bad guy gets dealt with, I don't know if I've ever quite seen a movie handle it with such like clarity and sensitivity of like the big hero moment, like when the bad guy gets taken care of, like that's still like the taking of a human life, and that's still a big thing that matters. And I think like the end of Tin Star, like he does the thing. It's not quite as much in the Tin Star, but I think a lot of the themes, and they're both wonderful, short 1957 Western that would be great together. And Samuel Fuller is one of my favorite filmmakers of all time. More people should know Sam Fuller. I love it whenever somebody goes in the closet and shouts him out.
Yeah, I have that Sam Fuller set from Indicator. That last film in the set, I love that. What is it? Underworld USA or Underworld USA. Love that movie. It's great. Yeah. But yeah, he's obviously kind of a cultist director in a way. Like he's made some classics, but it's a lot of his stuff. Sadly under the radar. I almost picked a Fuller from that set. One of the ones that he wrote but didn't direct. Shockproof. I almost picked, but I was like, I'll pick a more normal one for everybody. No, it's great, man. 2 Westerns from the same year. I mean, it's you hit checked a lot of boxes on that one.
And I'll say, if anybody wants to get into Sam Fuller, the 40 Guns Criterion set has the documentary that his wife made called A Fuller Life.
There you go.
Incredible documentary.
There you go. Love it. Andrew, I want to know what other Johnny Depp movie you're pairing with this. Come on, man, do it. No, I'm just kidding.
Pirates of the Caribbean? No, not any of the Pirates movies. I do also want to echo that. Watch Sam Fuller films. I just rewatched Pick Up on South Street recently, just reacquainting myself with the brilliance of that movie.
Just saw Noah Wiley picked it in the still shot. I can't wait to hear what he says in his video.
I did see that as well. Oh goodness, there's so many of his movies that are just worth.
The Shot Corridor, Naked Kiss double feature, the ones that I always recommend.
Shot Corridor, Naked Kiss, just unreally.
He also wrote stuff and didn't direct it. He
did a movie. I always shout this movie out, called The Steel Helmet, which is a movie that's a Korean War film. You don't see a lot of Korean War films, let alone Korean War films that were made in the 1950s.
Years after it happened,
Yeah, like right when it was happening. And it's like a shorter film. It was only available in the Samuel Fuller Eclipse set from Criterion.
And you know what's funny about that is you say you never hear about Korean War stuff. The most I ever heard about Korean War in pop culture was Eric Foreman's dad on That 70s Show. He was just like, I was in the Korean War. I'm like, dude, you never hear anybody say they fought in the Korean War.
What's crazy, that's the only time you really hear about it is like someone's dad or uncle or ancestor fought in the Korean War. And they talk about it in TV shows or movies.
It's like never in movies, but in TV shows.
It's
in that specific one.
I don't want to go on a whole history thing, but the United States involvement in it was not for a long time.
Yeah.
And technically, the Korean War hasn't even ended. There's been a ceasefire since like the early 1950s. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. But the movie I chose to pair up with Public Enemies is another movie set during that specific time, but it's dealing not with John Dillinger, but with Al Capone. And that's the Brian De Palma film, The Untouchables. It's a movie starring, oh my goodness, who is it in this movie? Kevin Costner's in it, Andy Garcia, Robert De Niro, Sean Connery won an Oscar for this film. I think it's the only time he's won an Oscar, if I can remember correctly. Like I said, made by the great Brian De Palma. It's really the movie that was part of the Kevin Costner rise to stardom in the mid to late 1980s. And he's excellent in this movie as Elliot Ness, who's leading basically this task force to combat bootlegging, basically during Prohibition. So we're talking the 1920s. Before Prohibition would be repealed in the 1930s when FDR came into office. And yet again, it's also dealing with the character or the gangster of Al Capone, who was basically running Chicago at the time. For those of you who want a little history lesson, how they ended up getting Al Capone eventually was for tax evasion. None of his other criminality. It was tax evasion that got him. I got to do those taxes. But great movie. This movie is so good. Brian De Palma. I know we all know Brian De Palma for Scarface, Carrie, and several other films.
Creepy movies.
Yeah.
8mm.
Yeah. Well,
that's Francis Ford.
That's Joel Schumacher.
Oh God, I get all of them guys mixed up. No.
Well, in the 90s, he did Snake Eyes.
Snake
Also
Eyes. That's the one I was trying to think of.
with
I like
Nicolas
Snake
Cage.
Eyes.
Yeah.
Snake Eyes, the opening of the movie Snake Eyes is amazing, like damn near perfect.
It's real good.
I think the movie kind of loses steam after that first opening act. But anywho, this movie does not lose steam, I don't think, at any point. It's really
great
good,
ending. Really great, like punctuation at the ending.
Yeah, like punctuation at the end. Like it's tense, it's dramatic, it's great camaraderie acting with this band of the Untouchables who are basically taking on the criminal underworld in the bootlegging racket. And yeah, it's so good. It's set, like I said, set during the same time as Public Enemies. It more focuses on the law enforcement aspect of it as opposed to Public Enemies, which tries to balance those things out. You do get scenes in this movie with Robert De Niro as Al Capone, and it's basically just him being just an evil bastard. There's a famous story where Bob Hoskins was supposed to be Al Capone in this movie.
Makes a lot of sense.
And it didn't work, but he still got paid like hundreds of thousands of dollars and to like basically just for his time. And I think Bob Hoskins, it's an interview, you can watch it on YouTube. Bob Hoskins basically called up Brian De Palma and said, "Hey, if you have any other work you don't want me to do, please call me," because he got paid so much just to not be in it. And I always thought that was a great story. But this is the older Blu-ray release. There is a 4K release that came out a few years ago, which was much needed because this Blu-ray was from like the late 2000s as well. And I'm assuming the 4K looks a lot better because I don't think I've seen this since maybe DVD days. I don't even know if I've seen this Blu-ray, maybe once. But yeah, it came out 1987, so right in that Kevin Costner time frame. If you like gangster movies, organized crime films, this is a must. This is on every single one of those best lists for obvious reasons. Brian De Palma was so good. There's even a reference to, I want to say, Battleship Potemkin at the end of this movie. I think that's what the reference is, when the baby carriage is going down the stairs. Pretty sure that's Battleship Potemkin reference. So Brian De Palma, a great all-time filmmaker. This is one of his best movies, The Untouchables. There was also a TV show back in the day, also called The Untouchables as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, The Untouchables.
Awesome. Public Enemies, two lengthy ones. Yeah, 2 short ones, 2 lengthy ones, I believe. Because I think Untouchables is kind of
2
long,
hours.
isn't it?
2 hours.
Yeah, not as bad. So 4.5 hours on yours. My pairing. So I got a couple editions of this film. I wanted, I zeroed in on this existential theme, this theme of somebody going through an existential crisis, and kind of the movie kind of zeroing in on a specific period of time, leading to a kind of, great ending. And I couldn't think of anything else better. I'm sure there's other ones that are good, but The Swimmer.
Nice.
1968, The Swimmer. I have the Grindhouse releasing or the Indicator Blu-ray here. So yeah, The Swimmer from 1968, starring Burt Lancaster, directed by Frank Perry, or Sidney Pollack, I think, directs some of that movie as well. I guess Frank Perry dropped out early. I've seen the documentary on this thing. It's been a while, but there's some great supplements specifically on the Indicator release. Has a lot of great stuff. But essentially, Burt Lancaster plays this, rich guy that's he decides he wants to swim every swimming pool in his neighborhood leading to his house. He shows up. It's really just kind of like you just get dropped into it, kind of like Cleo, and he's hanging out at a friend's house. He's swimming in their pool. He's chatting them up, and slowly but surely through each new house, new pool he goes to, different people that know our main character. His name is Ned Merrill. You start to kind of learn more and more about his situation. People keep asking him questions about his life, things that he's doing, and he's kind of avoiding them. So you're getting this idea that he's avoiding something, and all along is trying to like have this grand day of swimming and just being free out in just using this as like a distraction in some way. You start to understand that the more and more the movie goes on. And there's something just so, heartbreaking about the movie. I mean, this is kind of almost like an inverse in a way, like a contrast to Cleo, where Cleo, these are both kind of dire situations, but one, you already know the setup with Cleo. You understand what she's going through. In this one, you don't really know what's happening yet, but you know there's something going on underneath. And we don't really understand it until we get to the end. And it doesn't end well for our, I mean, I don't want to spoil it, but it's not as positive for Ned at the end of The Swimmer. And first of all, Burt Lancaster, I think obviously he's a well-known actor and he's great, but I don't think he always gets like put out there as like being one of the greats. I think he
didn't get to like, and maybe I feel bad. At that time, he was a great hero and a great leading man.
Yeah.
But he didn't get to like act.
He didn't always get to like show off a lot. Yeah. Yeah.
No, he was the handsome, charismatic guy. He did a lot of like swashbuckly stuff and a lot of adventure stuff, a lot of action stuff that he was good at, but it wasn't like super deep acting.
Few times, like The Swimmer was one of the examples. I think of the Lumet film, 7 Days in May. He's in that. He's like a political.
Well, Sweet Smell Success was fantastic.
That too. So he has.
You really need to see The Swimmer. So, I know so many of my friends love The Swimmer. It's had all those editions, and I've not picked up one yet. It is
fantastic. Andrew, you've seen it obviously, and so what do you? I mean, how do you feel about the pairing?
Good pairing. I mean, if we're talking two films dealing with existential life things, they go hand in hand. I mean, I like this idea of like each pool that he goes to or each property that he goes to reveals something about his character. Like someone from his past will be there or something from his past will be there. So you get this slow reveal each place you go to until you get to the ultimate ending of it all. Fascinating way to tell a story. This was a later movie from Burt Lancaster's career. By later, I'm talking, when was it, like the late?
What technically it's
that's what
his last role was in. You bring up Kevin Costner, Field of Dreams. He was in that
he
small
wasn't,
little role, Moonlight
that,
Graham.
I'm trying to because after that he was just in TV stuff. Yeah. He was in a TV miniseries, a TV movie, a TV miniseries. That's how he ended his career. But earlier stuff from him, I'm right with you, Steve. I think he's one of the best. I don't think he gets the credit for being one of the best. From Here to Eternity is a masterwork of a movie from 1953, and he's in that, and he's incredible. I know that movie
he did. It's like Sheba, something.
Oh my God.
Goodbye Sheba or something like that.
As in the Goodbye Little Sheba?
Comeback Sheba.
A Comeback Little Sheba? What's crazy is I
have
the Blu-ray somewhere. I don't know.
It's there's an in-print release of it. That's fantastic.
And he was also in like so many other different genres.
Oh, he was
like,
the leopard.
He was in westerns.
Oh yeah, the leopard, the Vince.
Oh my goodness, the Visconti movie. Yeah. He was in The Professionals. He was in the Train is an incredible movie.
The Frankenheimer film. Yeah,
the Frankenheimer film from 1964. 7 Days in May was out that same year too. That's a double dose of greatness. He was in Judgment at Nuremberg. The movie he actually won an Oscar for is called Elmer Gantry, where he plays like this traveling, we would kind of call it like a televangelist now, but he's like one of those like traveling type of guys.
I know Birdman from Alcatraz, isn't that one?
That movie's so good. Yeah. I always hate that movie's got two different Blu-ray releases, and the only difference between the Blu-ray releases is the commentaries are different. So it's like, which one do I get?
I got the Twilight Time.
There's a Twilight Time. Was it Twilight Time in Olive Films? Either way, but there's two different Blu-ray releases. They just have different commentaries. Drives me nuts every time I think about it. He was in Gunfight at the OK Corral, which just got a 4K release. He's been so many great movies. He was in The Rainmaker. That's another great film. The Rose Tattoo, so underrated.
That's Lumet too.
Right? And it was Comeback Little Sheba. Now that I'm looking at
Little Sheba, yeah.
That movie's kind of amazing.
That's amazing, yeah.
He's in this movie called Crisscross, which is this noir from 1949, which is also really good. Man, he had a hell of a career. Hell of a career. But The Swimmer is so great. It's such pure existential movie. Yeah, I'd recommend it to anybody. But there are, like you said, Steven, there are 2 releases of that. There's the Blu-ray from Grindhouse Releasing, and then there's the one from Indicator too, which I know
Do you
is
have a recommendation?
I'd say the Indicator. I mean, they're both great.
They're
They
both
both have a
great.
lot of. But I'm a big Indicator fan. They
love
typically
Indicator.
do really great stuff when it comes to features.
They typically have new features, which you don't see a
Yeah.
lot of for
Wish more labels
for
would do
some.
that.
Yeah. But that is my pairing. And that is our show, guys. I appreciate Phillip from the Stubstance Podcast joining us. Did you have a good time? Was it worth it?
Yeah, man, it's always great talking movies, making new friends, and I love building my watch list. I was telling Jesse earlier, like I listened to you guys a bunch when like you first launched and hadn't listened in a little while, and then like a couple months back, he's like, "Yeah, me and Josh are going on," and I was like, "Oh man, I need to check back in with those guys." Like, I love like this. Like the media landscape is so weird right now. I only know one person, and I've been friends with her for like decades, which is weird. I only know one person who like has a single job doing like movie journalism. Everybody else is like a freelancer for like 30 different people. So like what we do like is kind of a part of that whole big thing, and it's always cool connecting with and hanging out with people who have a passion for this stuff.
Yes, for sure. We're trying to jump out more than that. We've been doing this for a while, and we're definitely trying to reach more out to our fellow film buffs and people in the community to just keep in touch. It's good to stick together and know who. It only feels like we're doing this because we're not. I mean, I'll say. I know you said you're making some money. We're not making any money. So
I'm hardly making any money.
Yeah,
I would love to make more.
Yeah, of course. It'd be all nice to be making a little bit of cash to. For me, it would be more to make my wife understand that I spend the extra time doing this because it's for something. But it's a passion. She understands that, and so she's okay with it. So
it's also nice when you get free Blu-rays. That's kind of like making money because I don't have to spend money on buying those.
Yeah, we don't get a lot of the promos. We do get some Criterion stuff, so that's nice. But
ooh, that's real nice.
Yeah. So thank you, Sean Baker.
Yeah.
But
guys,
I enjoyed the show very much because like in my normal life and even in some of like my movie podcast circles, like Twilight. I haven't thought about that label in forever. What'd you say? Is it Twilight Time?
Twilight Time. Yeah.
I only have 1 or 2 from them, but like I don't even know how many people would even know like Deaf Crocodile and a lot of like so it's always nice when you get to the niches of some of these things.
For sure. Well, we do that here on Chasing Labels. Check out Andrew's show every other week. He gets into all them niches.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that is it for tonight's show. Tomorrow night, if you come back, me, Andrew, and our friend Dan Skiballin will be talking Blade Runner on Movies Down Memory Lane. So come in for that.
Very nice.
Like I said, once again, thanks Phillip from the Stubstance Podcast. The links will be in the description. Go check his stuff out. That is it for tonight. And hey, what are you still doing here? Go watch movies. You shouldn't be watching us. Look, Public Enemies, Untouchables.
Go watch a movie.
Do something valuable. I just got a new 83-minute movie that I cannot wait to watch.
I got that one too.
Nice. I've actually seen that and talked about it on Chasing Labels.